And the survey says, we appreciate you so much for watching.
Beautiful people, I am Carrington Brown, your life coach and relationship expert, and you are tuned in right now to the Michael Finkley Show. Don't miss it.
Finkley sits down with B2K's Raz B. He opens up to us about everything you need to hear and you want to hear. It's a Finkley exclusive you don't want to miss. Happening April 25th. On the next Michael Finkley, attorney Morgan Harper is with us as she talks about her run for the U.S. Senate. Next.
If I can make it through the night, just to see a brighter side, 'cause I've been working all my life just to make it.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. Thanks for joining us today. Now y'all know my principles of the show, right? To inform, educate, and inspire you. And within those three realms, we bring you variety of different stories, different concepts, and what the world is talking about and what you want to hear. Today is no different. We're in the political ring and we have that conversation with the incredible attorney Morgan Harper. She is running for the U.S. Senate for Ohio Democratic Party. And she talks to us about why she deserves this and her platform. So Think Fam, especially those in Ohio, don't you go away. Back in a moment. Coming up, we have attorney Morgan Harper with us. Back in a moment.
Hi, it's singer and songwriter Bailey Marie, and you're watching The Michael Finkley Show.
On the next Michael Finkley, Grammy-nominated producer, songwriter, and engineer Rocky Bird is with us. Next Finkley, Finkley Friday. Hello everybody, it's Finkley from the Finkley Experience. We're an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. So we assist students with their college and career endeavors. We train school administrators on the state of first-generation students. And also, we partner with colleges and universities to assist their first-generation population for easy transition from high school to college. So if you're looking for a presenter or speaker that presents on these topics and so much more, visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com and learn about all that we do. We're looking forward to working with you. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Y'all, I'm excited to have my next guest. She is attorney Morgan Harper, and she is the candidate Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate of Ohio. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
You're very, very welcome. And so I know you get this question a lot, but the real question of this is why and why you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the why I'm even in politics just has to do with some of my early life experiences here in Ohio. I was born to a teenager who wasn't ready to raise me, given up for adoption. I lived in a foster home as an infant and then was adopted and raised by my mom, who worked in the public school system. And I just got exposed early on to how, one life shock can potentially send everything off the rails. And I knew the reason why we made it as a family was because I had even one parent with a stable job and then, a strong community around us. And so that's what put me in this position to get, a great education and really instilled in me this commitment to make sure everybody gets a fair shot. I think that's what, if we have to define the American dream, that's what it's about. And I got to Washington, saw how much that place has just been corrupted by money. And that's the level of government that we really need to be working for us to make that vision a reality and fulfill American dream for everyone. And that's why I'm running for the United States Senate, because Ohio needs new leadership.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. When I was watching the interview you did a few months ago, and you said it's not a policy problem, but it's a politician problem. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit more?
Yeah, well, I was in Washington. I worked at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau after the financial and foreclosure crisis. And, I'll admit a lot of naivete now, where I really thought everyone got to Congress because they really wanted to do good work and represent the people and, make sure that they were moving with urgency to deliver resources and change for people. And, I got there and I just saw how much, lobbying and all the money and, starts to influence the process, and that it isn't that we don't know what it would take to make sure that everyone has healthcare, housing, or that we have wages keeping up with the cost of living. We know exactly the policies that would solve those issues. It's that we have politicians who block progress because they have this influence, because the lobbyists really control Washington. And so for that to change, that's why we have to have different kinds of people running and winning who are unbought in that way.
Definitely. And those issues make up who you are. So what are some of those issues that you're fighting for within your campaign?
Yeah. Few priorities. I mean, we have a long list of issues on the website, but, I point to, for sure, just making sure we're both addressing the climate crisis and also creating a lot of very high paying jobs. I think that's one thing that's really exciting over the last couple of years, is people are starting to see green energy as really a win-win in that way. And especially in Ohio, where we've seen a lot of job loss over the last 20 years, making sure that we're incentivizing job creation in all different regions of the state, including more rural, smaller cities as well. And then I'm very focused on universal healthcare, Medicare for all, regardless of what your employment situation is, or if you're a small business owner, that you have access to the healthcare you need and that it's not costing as much as your mortgage, for example, is a big priority. And then increasing federal minimum wage, making sure, we do have wages that are keeping up with the cost of living. And the other thing I would point to is just, a little more wonky, but making sure we have a truly free market. So stronger antitrust enforcement, competition policy that's going to make it easier for small, medium-sized businesses to be created, to grow, to compete, and not just have giant corporations that are running every sector of the economy, which is also important for workers to then have a stronger negotiation position for wages and other benefits.
Key points for all people, right? Key points for all people that we need to continue to look out for and fight for. 2 words, Tim Ryan, right?
Who's he? No, I'm kidding.
Tim Ryan. So he's been doing it for a while, and this is why you're running against him, because you feel that now we want to Morganize, right?
Yeah.
So what puts you in there you go. What puts you in a more unique position for voters of Ohio to cast their vote for you instead of the norm, which is Tim Ryan?
Yeah. Tim Ryan is my main primary opponent. And the reason why I decided to get in, even though, he's better resourced and has, name, having run for president for a couple of weeks, whatever, is because doing the same old thing has not been working in Ohio Democratic politics. Democrats have not had a strong track record of winning, and it has taken candidates who are a little bit outside of the norm, if we define the norm as people who look more like Tim Ryan, to have a shot at winning. So, who's won statewide in Ohio for federal races over the last 20 years? Barack Obama's done it twice. Sherrod Brown has been able to win, though he's losing margin every cycle. And then on some of the non-federal races, Melody Stewart was, a Black woman who won a state Supreme Court seat recently. Jennifer Bruner has also won statewide, 2 women. And so, when you look at that mix of people, it actually, I am a little closer to some of the people that have been more successful in Ohio. And I really think, especially with how the electorate has shifted in the Trump era and the Trumpism we're still living through, that the state is ripe for more progressive policies. And that's what I've found, since we launched this campaign in August, that even people who maybe lean towards more of the conservative side of things also recognize that big insurance, big pharma have way too much power in our country and over our lives, and want politicians who are going to really be honest about that and do something about it. So there's a big opportunity here. But what we know for sure is that running the same type of career politician candidate has not been successful as Democrats in the state.
Yeah. So it's time for change, right?
Time for change. Yeah. And people have a choice. And we have, data to support. All it takes is people knowing I'm running and they want to support. So we just have to get the word out. That's what we're hustling, between now and May 3rd, the primary date, to really continue to spread the word.
Yeah. What does that look like for you and your team, though? How often are you in conferences? You're out there on the ground, paving it, walking, talking with us?
Yeah. So, it's a big state. And so we have a lot of ground to cover. And we do spend a lot of time in the car. Today, I was just in Dayton and Cincinnati and a couple smaller counties as well, Butler County, Preble County, and talking to people, groups, different groups. In this pandemic era, it's also been a lot of Zooms. So not always traveling, but meeting with people in big groups via Zoom. Tomorrow we'll be in Cleveland for a candidate forum. And then we have started texting and phone banking and door knocking and all of that. And we have, a lot of volunteers and a team involved in all of that. So it's kind of different every day, but especially now that we're into the final couple of weeks, really, it's just fully, voter contact and then trying to participate in any of the events that are happening. We've only had one debate, unfortunately, but we have another candidate forum coming up this week too. That's going to be hosted by the Ohio Young Black Democrats, which will be great. Although debates are better than candidate forums, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. So I'm going to throw another 2 words at you. Ready? So Josh Mandel.
Oh,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
That guy.
So we did see, and it went viral on social media, the debate between you and him, right?
Yeah.
And just to go off the ram a little bit, when he told you to, that you're angry, that really, I'm just like, hey, sir. So I guess, everyone felt that as well. But with that debate, do you think that anything was resolved in that, or was it just a bickering going back and forth?
I think, and we did 2 of them. So we did one in Columbus, one in Cleveland. The one in Cleveland was one where he went on all that angry stuff. I think it accomplished a couple of things. I mean, one, especially when you're running and you're more of a grassroots candidate and, I haven't been in Congress yet. There's sometimes this perception that, oh, well, they're like the big dogs out there and they know how to play the big dog politics. And you little lady don't know what you're doing, whatever. Right. And so these debates were, I think, a really good way to show people, hey, actually, not only do I know what I'm doing out here, but in fact, someone like me is the best counter to this racist jerk. Right. And that, we're able to draw that strong contrast. And the other thing that I would say it accomplished is a lot of people have not been paying attention to the Senate race who are Democrats. The Republican race gets all of the oxygen. And so we were able to let people know this is the kind of person who's running on the other side. And TikTok, we don't have a lot of time here, right? There's a Democratic primary coming up. It's already into 2022. So I heard from people after that debate, who saw some of the media coverage in less traditional outlets like People Magazine, Daily Mail, that were telling me this is the first they'd ever heard about any Democrat running for the United States Senate or really knowing what Josh Mandel stands for. So that's important because we need people to be informed and paying attention if we're going to have any shot of winning this in November.
And I think that's the best part of this day and time with social media and more so even to word of mouth about elections that are coming forth. More people now are wanting to be informed and just informed about what's happening, what's going on, so they can make that intelligent vote when they get to the polls. A few days ago, this article came up where you called a school's police report a waste of resources.
You're up on the Ohio news, huh? Well, so this is very interesting. I mean, you're in South Carolina, so you probably have a healthy dose of all of this as well. But I'm sure. So, we received an invitation from a few student organizers who are going to be doing a walkout from their high school in protest of a bill that's been introduced in the state legislature called HB 616 or Don't Say Gay bill. So replicating the one that came out in Florida. I don't understand why this is, but whenever these bills come out in Florida, they get a ton of national attention and then they get copied in Ohio within a couple of weeks, but they never get as much national attention. So anyway, so the Florida Don't Say Gay bill, an Ohio one was introduced and went even further actually. So, it's not about that you can't teach or talk about or, reference being gay, but it also says you can't really get into any divisive concept at all. Well, divisive, extremely broad. Anyway, so, the students rightly organized a walkout, I was proud to stop by, support them. This was outside of the high school football field during one of, I think, their lunch break. And they had informed the school that this was going to be happening, that I would be attending briefly. And then stopped by, gave some, encouraging remarks, and then moseyed on. And next thing I know, we have the school system in my Twitter DMs saying that they had filed a police report because I had been trespassing or something like that. So, I called it frivolous because it is. And, it was interesting that no one in administration talked to me, at any point when I was on the school grounds. And if they had informed me, of course I would have done something. But anyway, it just seemed like what this really is. And it's a suburban school district that has a reputation for being a little bit more conservative, and that they were trying to make it clear that they didn't agree with the content of what was being discussed at this walkout, is what it appears to be.
Well, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, wow. Do you think this can hurt or help, or both?
Well, I think most voters in Ohio are now very used to the fact that these bills are being introduced by the GOP for no other reason but to divide us and distract people from the real issues, and then really try to make us a state that is not welcoming to everyone. And so I actually heard from a lot of people that they were grateful that I was willing to speak out, because, another one of the complications with this is teachers, even if they don't agree with what's happening in their professional positions, aren't able to really say anything. And so who's looking out for these young people that are going to be subject to these laws, and who's able to really stand up for them, right? I mean, of course, their parents, but then also I see myself as, a leader and another adult in the community that wants to make sure they know we have their back, because this impacts all of us. So I think overall, it was good to show people, like, for example, later this week, I'm attending a candidate forum that's hosted by our local Stonewall Columbus group. And one of the questions that'll be asked is, what have you done to push back on bills like HB 616? And I'm going to say, I'm out here with the teenagers who, are doing what they can in a way that some adults aren't even willing to make sure that folks know this is not what we want in the state of Ohio. And this is not going to make sure that we're a state of the future. So I think overall positive. And, I get some of the weird messages, it's like, oh, you're, trying to take down our children. Sure. But those are not people that were likely to support my platform no matter what. Right.
Gotcha. And you're continuing on. I love it. So if you win, great. Yay. But if not, right, how will you continue the work?
Well, I've been in this for a while. It's funny. Someone this morning who I met who was votive saying, oh, I meet some people and they're like, is she old enough to be in the United States Senate? So I am approaching 40. And, as I've been working on issues around policy and social change and all of this for almost my entire career. And so I feel fortunate that way. Lots of different lanes, doing the organizing, having worked in Washington, policy stuff. Always going to find a way to contribute, but we're really focused on doing everything necessary to pull this off on May 3rd.
Gotcha. I love it. And on a lighter note, right? Just a few weeks ago, not too long ago, history was made within the Supreme Court, right? Okay.
I was like, are you going to bring up Will Smith?
No, not that. No, ma'am. Justice. What?
I know.
Jackson.
People bring that up out of nowhere sometimes.
You know what? I'm past that. Anyway, I'm definitely past that. But how has that, within history, of making history, continue to fuel you as a woman of color within the realm of politics?
Well, it was a huge moment. In some ways, in ways I didn't even really expect, but I think having, worked in the legal profession, being a Black woman, seeing how many obstacles there are to reach that level and knowing what those obstacles are quite in a familiar way, I just have so much respect for her. And, and then seeing the type of treatment that she had to deal with in the confirmation hearing, I think is reflective of the political environment right now, especially in places like Ohio. So, it certainly gave me a lot of reassurance that, she's putting herself out there, Justice Jackson, and that we aren't alone out here, that there are a lot of us who are willing to put ourselves out there, and we have to have each other's backs. So, I spoke to a group of young women shortly after the hearings had taken place, and they asked me, well, Morgan, what are your tools for resiliency, and what can we learn from you? And my message was, I don't want you all to have to be so resilient. I hope that we're working towards a future where you just get to be great and not have to overcome this type of treatment and obstacles. So let's push for that.
Definitely. And another definitely. Yes, ma'am. So May 3rd is not that far away. Final plea. Why Morgan Harper?
Because I'm not another politician. I actually am someone who just comes from the community, who knows what it takes for us to be okay, and who also recognizes what needs to change in Washington to get that done. And so May 3rd primary, would appreciate all support. morganharper.org, MH for OH, and we're out here and we have the chance to make history in Ohio. We've never had a woman, we've never had a Black senator, and that's not why I'm running, but it's a nice little bonus. Because then you're also going to get unbought and fearless leadership that's going to get to Washington and really get things done.
I gotcha. Y'all, as my awesome Think Fam says on TikTok, we outside now. So she's outside now, right? And she's paving the way again for a better tomorrow. She is again, what are you doing again?
Morganized.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, Morgan.
Thank you.
And telling us your experiences in your words, and best to you, May 3rd.
I appreciate that so much. Talk to you soon, Michael.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Think Fam, don't go away. Back in a moment.
What's going on, everybody? This is Anthony Dalton II. I play Calvin Rodney on Tyler Perry's #1 show, Sisters on BET, and you're watching The Michael Finkley Show.
Colors. What the? Oh, God. This one. Yeah, right, Marine. So I guess we don't stand for colors, huh? I'm sorry. I was starving. What was you eating on anyway? Let me put you on. This that Lucy's hoopie pie. Okay. Hey, but before you go, Marine, what can I get me one of those? Oh, at all the Super Target locations, Sergeant. Okay. And where can you get your chart sheet at in the morning? On your desk. As long as we track it.
On the next Michael Finkley, Grammy-nominated producer, songwriter, and engineer Rocky Bird is with us. Next Finkley Friday. Everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I hope that you learned something from our guest today. Thank you so much to Tre D for being with us and your run for the Senate seat for Ohio for the Democratic Party. We wish you the best, and best wishes to you on May 3rd. Thank you so much, and we'll be watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Michael Finkley Show. Ring the bell for notification. We'll see you an email saying, hey, new content's uploaded. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And for more information about what we do on the show, visit us at michaelfinkley.show.com. Of course, U42. Visit us at YOU42.com and watch our content there with some exclusive things coming your way, I promise. Thank you so much for watching. And guess what? We'll see you next time. Have a good one.